Hello, and welcome to another edition of Education Exchange, your favorite television show about the Iowa City Community School Districts. We've been on the air now doing this for about 20 years, and over the years I've gotten to see a lot of things about a lot of different schools, learned about a lot of the programs. And tonight we're fortunate enough to have two people here from Southeast Junior High, and that is Allison Brewer and Michelle Cook, and I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves and explain who they are.
Hi, I'm Michelle Cook, and I'm the assistant principal at Southeast Junior High. This is my first year as assistant principal, but I taught global studies there for 12 years. I'm actually a Southeast alumni, Southeast and City High. I have 3 kids in the Iowa City Community School District, all at Longfellow, and my oldest will be joining me at Southeast next year. Super excited about that. Lots of home ties to Southeast, and I love it.
Let me interrupt for a minute. You're super excited about that. How about your oldest?
Oh, she can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure
It's
as
gonna be
a
awesome.
junior high student,
Yeah.
she couldn't think of anything better than
I know, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's okay.
And I'm Allison Brewer, and I've been teaching at Southeast Junior High for 7 years. I also teach global studies and American studies. And then this year, with the district's new initiative of RTI, I've taken on responsibility of the MTSS person, which is multi-tiered support systems coordinator. I also have children in the district. I have 4 daughters, and 3 of them are at Hoover, and also a Southeast Junior High and City High alum.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only one that didn't go there. I grew up in Minnesota, so and actually, the junior high I went to was called Southwest, so it's it's somewhat close. Yeah, well, anyway, different state, different side of town, but other than that, not bad.
Other than that, it's almost the same.
Yeah. Same grade levels. So
Yeah, there
I
you
guess
go.
that worked out. Michelle, you've been a principal or assistant principal, I should say, there for, did you say 1 year?
Yep, this is my first.
And it's the first, all of your teaching prior to that was at Southeast?
I started my first year teaching, I was at Regina, and I taught at Regina for 4 to 5 years, or 4 years. I taught junior and senior high school there. And then I switched over to Southeast. Last year, I did a short stint as an interim assistant principal when ours took a leave of absence. And then I transferred into the role permanently this year.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, I forgot where I was going with that there. Now, your mission, our title today basically was what the school is about, right? Education.
Yes.
Okay. And can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we wanted to kick off the year this year with what we called Expect Excellence. And sort of the theme behind it, or the idea behind it, is not only do we expect excellence of everybody in the building, because we truly believe that everybody's capable of that. We always tell the kids, we believe you can be better than you ever thought you could be. But we also want every student that comes through to have a truly excellent experience. We only have these kids for 2 years, so it's a really short time to make what we want to be a really big impact.
Yeah.
So we want them to come in expecting to get just a truly outstanding experience. I think one of the coolest things that we started with this year, very first day of school, first thing in the morning, we started off with a pep assembly for 7th graders, and then we did one for 8th graders afterwards. And we put together a slideshow that we called our Legacy of Excellence, where we went through and found probably a really small portion of Southeast alumni that went on to do some pretty outstanding things.
Yep.
So we put that through, we listed them, we've got them like in a legacy sort of excellence hall of fame, if you will. And we ended it at the end of the slideshow as a blank face, and it just says, we want your face to be on here in future years. So
Good. Getting them to live up to expectations.
Absolutely.
And kids do. I mean, they
absolutely
naturally
do.
pick up on things, and they want to do what is expected of them.
they will rise to your expectations, absolutely.
Yeah. And I like that idea. When I was at Wickham, I started and had a bulletin board that we put up every year, and we called it the Wall of Fame. And so each year it was kids that were either in Wickham, or families that were in Wickham, or kids that had gone on into Northwest or North Central, depending upon the year, and then in West High and beyond. And whenever they did something well, that was put up there. And by, as the year went on, it just kept getting more and more full. And the kids really enjoyed that. They really liked looking at that and seeing because they knew most of the kids anyway.
Right.
So, and I think there's no better way than to show them,
To show, yeah, just
that they can do it.
Exactly.
Others can do it, you can do it, and aspire to do what they
Yeah.
do also.
Yep.
Yep. Now, you have I'm sorry, I haven't been doing this for a while. I'm getting distracted by someone when he walks in. Just what I told them not to do, I'm doing. Pretty informal show.
Yeah.
Well, when you're talking about what you did, the assembly and stuff at the beginning of the
Yeah.
year, expectations, do you do other things throughout the year then?
Yes.
With this too?
So we're a PBIS school, Positive Behavior Intervention Supports. So what we try to do is just reinforce our expectations all the time. So we're always talking to the kids about, meeting expectations. What we decided to do this year was really hit hard 3 areas: hallways, classrooms, and then, what was our third one?
Hallways, classrooms, and
I can't think. It might have just been like school-wide
School-wide, I think
expectations
school-wide,
and just
yeah.
sort of being prepared. So we came up with
Preparedness,
common
I think.
language. Yeah, so we have staff in the hallway all the time, and our goal is that staff are interacting positively with students too. Simple things, get students to class on time. So, the kids will tell you, and they laugh at me for it, but they think it's funny, is I'll stand out there and I'm like, go be excellent today. Come on, go be excellent. Be on time, be excellent.
Well, and
they
catching them
love
at
it.
good things.
Yeah.
And instead of, typically, it was, if you get caught,
Right.
it's because
Right.
you're doing something bad. And instead, in this case, you're getting caught and rewarded and complimented for doing the things that you should be doing.
Yeah, and sometimes on the announcements, I'll finish with, hey, what can you do to be excellent today? And, like I said, some of them think it's corny, but junior high kids will still do corny, and so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, I was going to say, the junior high, I'd say probably the largest section of my teaching career in the different districts I was in was a junior high level, which I really enjoyed, and you have to
Yeah,
enjoy
you
it if you
have
stay
to.
there.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
You either like it or you don't.
Yeah, you really can't fake it.
No. And sometimes they're a different breed. They still have some of that, they come in, they still have some of that elementary, but yet they want to be
Oh, it's
high
a
school.
hybrid for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and it's, and sometimes can be pretty negative towards each other.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes hard to get over. But I think the positive reinforcement it was such a good, I can remember when they brought that into the district. I
Yeah.
thought that was a very good program to bring in. to
Yeah,
help
I
them
think
out.
it's good.
Yeah. Michelle, could you tell us a little bit? I know you teach there also, but you're also, what was it again?
Oh, MTSS, so Multi-Tiered Support Systems Coordinator. So this is a new position this year with the district.
New, whole new initials, whole new.
Yeah, another act,
Yeah,
yes.
she has a way cooler
I
acronym.
know,
Yeah.
I do. So the district has adopted this response to intervention model, or RTI, which goes along with a lot of initiatives that the district's already been putting in place and practicing, like differentiated instruction and cooperative discipline and things like that a lot of schools are already doing. So it's kind of this umbrella that kind of connects all of these pieces that we've been working on. So as the district, kind of as we roll this out more and more, my job will be shaped more and more and helping support students and staff and making sure that students are all learning at a high level.
So this is it the first year in the district? So basically, a really formative part of this and finding out
Yes.
kind of how things are going to be working.
Right.
And so if things go right, you get the credit. If they go wrong, well, it was because the assistant principal.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
So, yeah.
right. I'm going to blame it on her.
Yeah,
exactly.
someone else, they could have given us better direction. But so that's a good thing is that I always enjoyed, I opened up a couple of new schools when they were opening, and I always thought it was a great opportunity to go in and start a new program, start, things going, and that'd be pretty much the same this way then.
Yeah. And it's really good. It's like Michelle, it piggybacks on that idea of expect excellence, the idea that not only do we expect excellence out of our students, but the idea that as a staff, we really share the idea that kids can excel at high levels. All kids can. And it's just finding ways to support those kids and helping them achieve academic excellence. Whether it's extending learning for kids that are, hitting essential understandings, or whether it's providing supports for kids that need some help in certain areas, academic areas.
And now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or I was just going to say, yeah, kind of what she said when we talk about those expectations. When we say all kids can learn at high levels, we know that right now not all kids are learning at high levels. And we just simply put it out there to staff, whose responsibility is that? And we collectively agreed it's ours. It is our responsibility to make sure all kids in our building are learning at high levels.
Yeah, and every teacher, or they're not even teachers, I mean, all of the
Everybody in that
assistants, the
building.
aides, the
Yes.
associates, I mean, everybody is there to help support
Yes.
that.
Definitely, takes a village. As
Yes.
they
It really
say.
does.
And so now, as when you said it was this is a coach
Yeah,
position, so how do you involve yourself with everybody there? I mean, is it more with the teachers, with the students, with the?
I don't know. I think coach is probably maybe too specific of a word, at least for right now. I tend to work mostly with administration right now. And I mean, I work with teacher. We do some child study teams and things like that. So I work with the teachers with certain kids, trying to find supports that work for them, working with our administration to figure out what supports are working for certain students. I'm kind of like a liaison, I guess, between staff and administration.
Well, and I think now we're trying to get what systems can we put into place. So we kind of work on a tiered system where we say tier 1 supports is accessible to everybody.
Yep.
So every student in the building has, the option. They can sign out of study hall to go see their teacher. They can come in early. They can
Some
get a
involvement.
pass.
Right.
Yeah, and then what do those tier 2 supports look like? So these are the supports that not all 800 students need, but some students need. And that's where we see Allison stepping in with what can we put into place there, and then how can we help coordinate that? So is that putting them into a structured study hall? Is that providing an intervention time for that student? Is it giving them a check-in and check-out? So those are the systems that right now she's helping us to really formulate and coordinate. And then once we get all of those in place, then I really see her helping to facilitate those, make sure they're running smoothly, and again, acting in that liaison role.
And I'm sure part of it is finding there are some students that need more structure.
Yes.
Some that I know through my years there were some you could say, well, here's what we're going to do, and some would be boom,
Right.
they're on it.
Yeah.
And others you really have to point them in the right direction and really give them a lot of structure to get them going.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's finding out.
Right, and coming up with ways to kind of assess where students are at, if it's a will issue where it's kind of like they just don't feel like doing the work or don't want to do the work.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's a deficiency in a skill where they're missing some foundational learning that they need in order to achieve. So creating structures to recognize the differences between those, and then creating interventions that are different for those two issues that kids can have.
Yes, we got in a perfect world, in a perfect school, all the kids would just want to do everything.
Right.
But we all know better.
Right.
Right.
And so it is. I mean, that's great being able to find something for those kids that, again, a lot of it I think it just boils down to structure. And because I think the kids honestly want and like that direction.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were any kid, even the best kid, you just leave everything up to them, and it's
Right.
there's too many distractions.
Well, and it's a big transition coming from elementary
Yeah.
to junior high. I think
Yeah.
that's what we find. Our 7th graders really thrive on some of that structure and that support in place. Just because coming from a small building, they stay in one class, they have one teacher, to not only they have to go to 8 different rooms, but I just got done giving the 6th grade registration talk to the elementaries, and
Yep.
the thing we talk about is you not only will move from class to class, but then you have to learn how to deal with 8 different personalities, 8 different sets of, not expectations so much because we all have the similar school-wide expectations, but one teacher wants the homework turned in here, one
Right.
teacher wants
Or
it turned in
just
here.
plain class dynamics.
Right.
with,
Exactly.
this group of kids acts totally different than this group
Yes.
of kids.
So that's really challenging for some of our 7th graders. It's a big transition, and I think that's a responsibility that we take seriously in trying to help them bridge that.
Well, yeah, and you touched on before, I think another huge part of that is 6th grade, up to 6th grade, they still have somebody telling them basically at the
Exactly.
end of the day,
Right.
it's the same person saying this better be done by tomorrow.
Exactly.
Right.
Whereas the person they saw in first period, they're not going to see again.
Right.
And so what they have to do is get that notebook out. And,
Oh,
and
use
really
that
start-
planner, yeah.
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 I remember those. Yeah. Have some experience with a few young girls that had trouble keeping track of their. We don't.
Well, my own
They're-
kids
they're
are struggle
doing fine,
using
yeah.
their planner.
There's plenty
My
of
poor
lost
son.
planners around Southeast
I know.
Junior High.
Yeah. Well, what do you? The future of this, then, like I said, it's more the formative years.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you're really finding out what's going to work, what isn't going to work. What do you envision seeing how this will end up?
I think one of our goals is we all know that there's kids that get moved along or move along even though you know that they did not get the skills that we deemed essential. Why they didn't get them could be any number of reasons. It could be a will issue, it could be a skill issue, it could be any number of factors outside school's control. But I think where we're at is that nobody's been comfortable with the fact that students continue to get moved along even though they don't have essential skills.
Yeah.
But it's been really difficult to figure out how do you intervene there, how do you do that, especially if we have teachers that have 30 kids in a classroom, sometimes 35 kids in a classroom. How do you get to that? So I think our vision for this is truly to get to the point where we are committed to all kids learning at high levels. Our staff has worked really hard over the years at coming up with, in our different curricular areas, common understandings for your subject. So in global studies, Allison and I worked on each unit. This is what we feel the kids really have to grasp in order to, go on to be successful at whatever. So the next step is then figuring out, okay, how do we know if the kids grasped it? If they failed the test I gave or they failed my class, why? Is it because they don't know those skills? They didn't do the work? They were absent? If they didn't get that skill and we've decided it's important enough for them to have it, then I think our vision for the future is how are we going to make sure they get it? How can we go back and get them that skill? Because we've decided that they have to have it in order to be successful.
And that's not just junior high. I mean, when
Yeah.
you talk about that, a lot of the talk has been district-wide, and I'm not saying this district, but statewide, everywhere, nationwide, about whether or not the kids just getting passed along or whether or not they have
Right.
mastered the whatever it is they need to move on to the next step, whatever grade level, wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And I can see where that would be a lot more difficult for kids, mainly in junior high and high school, because they're going to have more interest in one area than they are in others, and so they're going to naturally focus more and pick up faster on the things. If they're really into science, they're going to really pick up on the science stuff and really enjoy that, but they may not, like English.
Right.
And so that would be an area where they're not excelling as well, and so each individual teacher with each classroom really has to focus on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's just where the idea that who takes responsibility for this, we do. It's really important to us that our kids are connected to school. We go out of our way to make sure every student is connected to a staff person at school in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that's another reason why it can be really difficult for kids at junior high to get lost in that shuffle, which is why we just put so much importance on connecting kids with a staff member. It doesn't have to be a teacher, but is there somebody in this building that you feel comfortable with? And then that person takes on that responsibility of watching out for that student too and checking in with them, making sure that they are being successful and that we're not just moving them along and not knowing what the deal is.
Yeah, and that's great, getting them hooked up with somebody, especially those that need more structure,
Yeah.
need more direction.
Yeah.
I can remember when I was in high school, everybody was assigned, junior high and high school, we were all assigned a counselor, but when you
Yeah.
had like 2 counselors for
Right.
1,200 kids,
Right.
that was, and I'm sure, I don't know what they have for counselors anymore, junior high and high school, but I'm sure there's not enough.
enough.
Not enough.
Definitely never enough.
Yeah.
But having at least one teacher, and especially, hopefully, it's one in an area that they do excel or do like.
Yeah.
And so, naturally, they're going to gravitate towards those teachers anyway. And having one of them being able to help them along and really help them focus,
Yeah.
would be a lot.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, this.
I think we have a lot of work to do, but
Yeah.
it's an exciting time for our building. I think that the staff are excited about what we're doing.
That's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if this is something you're just starting and the staff is buying in and into it and everything, that helps get everything going.
Well, I think they see a lot too, how a lot of the work we've done in previous years is really connected to this idea that we share that responsibility that all kids can learn, and this is just really helping us get to that point where that's truly happening in our building.
Now, you two must have taught together.
We did.
Right? You're
Yeah.
both,
Yeah.
because you're both in the same department. Now, and I know that different departments, you have your departmental meetings and things. And I mean, that's an excellent time then to get some of this going, where one of the teachers,
Yes.
I mean, where you're talking to each other and saying, well, do you see this or do you see
Absolutely.
this?
Definitely. We did a lot of work specifically at our building, and it's grown now I can speak about the social studies curriculum, really working together within our schools and now expanding it within our curricular areas, working on making sure that school to school in our subject areas that our essential understandings are the same. So whether your kid is a 7th grade global studies student at Southeast, Northwest, or North Central, the same understandings are being taught for each unit. I think that's been a really important goal for the district and for the schools and the teachers, because we want kids to get
Getting
the
the
same learning.
Yeah, same
Wherever-
experience.
Well,
yeah.
as well as this district, like many other districts, especially if they have multiple schools, people move.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
they
We have lots of kids that come in from Northwest and
Yes.
some from North Central
Yeah.
and vice versa. So it is nice if we can be on the same page when
yeah,
they come in.
you don't want to come from 7th grade in one building, move to another one, and it's
Completely different.
completely
Yeah.
different. There has to be a lot of coordinating between all
Right,
the
yeah.
buildings to make sure everything is the same.
So it's nice to have that professional development time to do, buildings set aside some time for small groups so global studies teachers can get together, or when we have district-wide, in order for us to sit down and talk about these understandings and
Yeah.
start working about common assessments and things like that. It's nice to have that time.
Yeah, the district's been really supportive of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have for many years. I was really surprised and thankful. I moved here from another district, and having a time dedicated for
Yeah.
Getting together across the district,
Yeah.
especially when I was in ELP, and I was the only one in the building or in the buildings that I was in. So for us to get together, that was an important time, so we
Yeah.
could get together and work on
Right.
on projects or units that we were going to be developing and things. And I can, it's I think a really important aspect that
Definitely.
a lot of the smaller districts can't
Right.
can't get into that, but
Right.
but it's really nice that there's a lot of support for that here. So.
There is.
Future of the future of this sounds like you're hopefully you've got goals there that you're
We
really
do.
going to
Yeah.
be shooting for.
Yeah.
Let's say I was going to ask, when are you going to be kicking the principal out and becoming
Well, our
Oh, we don't wanna
principal did just take a new role, actually.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Our
Oh, I thought that's what you were. I thought you.
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. No,
that.
I was just trying to put you on the spot.
Well, funny you should mention it. I think we're actually really fortunate. Our principal this year, Matt Degner, is fabulous and has really done some fabulous things at Southeast. And I think that he's taken the new role of director of schools.
Oh,
And it's at the district level, and I think it's an awesome opportunity for our district because he's young and he's enthusiastic and energetic and innovative. And I think what he's done it's been a short amount of time at Southeast, but to see him able to do that at district-wide, I think is really a win for the district. I mean, it's a loss for us, there's no question, but it's a win for the district.
oh, good. I'm sorry. I didn't.
That is funny, though.
I was just trying to be,
Lucky
a
coincidence.
little. I know.
That is, yes.
But actually, I know there is a lot of change within the district with rearranging positions,
Right.
different jobs at the administrative level and
Yeah.
all the way down. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of shakeup.
yeah. But good shake-up.
Shakeup's not always bad, yeah.
No.
Okay.
It can
There's
be a good thing.
people aren't necessarily fond of change sometimes, but
That is true.
but actually, I always thought that being an ELP teacher, and I did the talented and gifted in the last district, it was just constant change. I was always in different buildings,
Yeah.
always switching around, and so I don't know. I always thought it was kind of nice.
It's exciting.
You
Yeah.
probably had a fresh perspective and.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and what I liked about it is I always got to meet new kids.
Yeah.
Sure.
Staff members also. I mean,
Yeah.
that was one way, especially in the bigger the district got, the more I got to know more people, more staff. It was because I was in multiple buildings, and then again, learning different things from those staff. I mean, no matter the elementary class, K6. Sure, it's all the same, but it's not. I mean,
not.
every building is different.
Yeah.
And they approach things differently, and I'll say that I picked up different things from every building that definitely
Oh, yeah, you
helped
can always
me.
be learning, and change is exciting.
Which all goes back again to the kids. They have to go through that constantly, and it's a great thing that there's programs in
Yes.
place that help them deal with the change and help to kind of organize what they're going to be doing. I think we're running about out of time. Is there anything that either I know that half hour goes
It
fast.
goes really fast.
Especially when I do stupid things, I bring up things I don't know about.
That is super fun.
Anything you'd like to say about your hopes for the coming, for the kids, for the programs, for anything at all within the Southeast?
You know, I have really high hopes, and I think I have a great outlook on the future of Southeast. I think that every year we just continue to get better, and the kids that we have are amazing. The opportunities that we have within our building with the diversity and just the amazing experiences that our kids bring to that building, the different backgrounds. I think our future is really bright at Southeast.
And this district is blessed with the diversity
Yeah.
and the amount of kids with so many different
It is.
talents and
It's
things
awesome.
coming in. It
Yeah.
is, being in a university town, I mean, that brings a lot of it in,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives so many options and opportunities to all those kids to share with everybody else, even though they don't know they're sharing it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It's an exciting time, I think, for us as teachers, and some of the really positive changes that are coming about in education and how we really can support kids. I love Southeast, and we really truly have a terrific staff. And every time I see anyone in the community and they ask me about Southeast, and I say, your kids are so lucky to go there, because truly our staff care so much.
And you
about
both
these
have to
kids.
love it, having been there,
Yeah.
and then you
Oh,
go
yeah. I
and you
wouldn't
go
wanna be
back
anyplace
again.
else.
No, I won't be anywhere else.
Which means, I mean, that really shows,
Yeah.
you know, how much you do love it.
Yeah.
And on that, we're going to wrap this up
All right.
because I was told we were out of time.
Out of time.
And so,
Thank you.
You bet. And I'd like to thank you both for
great.
being here. And you can stop back anytime you like
Okay.
and tell us
happy
about
to.
other programs and other
Yeah.
things going on.
We
in
got
the-
lots of exciting things going on to talk
Yeah.
about.
Good, good. And I'd like to thank you for watching another edition of the Education Exchange Show, and I hope you tune in next week. It's on channel 18, PATV. It's on channel, is it 20? That is the school channel. It's on YouTube. You can catch it on YouTube also, and PATV. Thank you very much.